a lot of times being in isolation, even though you get to mingle with people, this is still isolation because you're away from your life, you're away from society. Your voice is muted. If it's not muted, it's not heard at all. So the fact that we got to convey some of our thoughts to the movers and the shakers, fresh minds, the young policymakers, the young philanthropists, the young activists, it was a beautiful thing.
We're trying to just basically create a story and tell it too. And we tell it by in music, poetry, dancing. We trying to paint a picture basically for other people to see.
I like what the Bible says about money. That money is the root of all evil. But whenever I look at the news, I sometimes get the blues because for money people kill other people.
I like that I get to bring creativity to my atmosphere and bring it out of other people.
Performing Arts and Community Exchange is a class that takes place at the San Francisco jails in San Bruno. And it is a 16-week course that brings together students at USF, majors in the Performing Arts Department, and men who are currently incarcerated in the Resolve to Stop the Violence program in the jails. Over 12 weeks, we worked collaboratively to create an original devised piece of theater, movement, and music.
He got money the best way he knew how, and when he was ignored enough, he hung out with the wrong crowd. He dreamed of escaping it all.
And becoming something greater.
The USF students meet once a week on campus, and then twice a week in the San Francisco jails with the men. Before we get together, we spend 2 weeks separate. During that time, I work with the USF students to talk to them about mass incarceration. We talk a lot about what we're bringing into the jail in regards to our ideas about who's incarcerated, why we think they're incarcerated. We also do a fair amount of work around our own identities in relation to our race and our class and our gender. And then that same kind of work is happening in the jails. So I'm going into the jails and working with the men there about sort of looking at who they think is going to walk through the door in the first day, their relationship to higher education, or to education in general. And also in both groups, we're sort of talking about what skills we have artistically and what kind of imagination we might be bringing with us when we step into the room together.
I'm a formerly incarcerated person. I'm 48 years old. I grew up in San Francisco. I performed in a play and then later on became hired to come back and actually serve the same population that I was once a part of. So what I went away with was a real in-the-body somatic experience that I could use to sustain a real positive life.
We start out with maybe a prompt like, where are you from? Or what did this look like in your life? And we hear answers from the RSVP men, we hear answers from the USF students, we go through a circle. I think it becomes very apparent that there's a shared knowledge in the room, that the lived experiences are very diverse, that people come from very different places with in very different contexts and circumstance, but they can still be talking about the same thing. I think entering the dance and music technique aesthetic world through this place of we come from all these different places allows the USF students to actually be very curious and open the knowledge that the RSVP men carry.
We worked out of a book. Also, we worked out of a book called Race to Incarcerated. It touched on a lot of bases like how poverty-stricken neighborhoods are expected to live up to the standards of the more affluent neighborhood. That was mostly stuck out for me the most. And also we spoke on tough on crime, capitalism, spoke on politics, and the war on drugs.
I didn't know a lot of, about a lot of the history of, prisons and jails. So for me, the comic book is an easy way. And then I like hearing what people have to say, because we talk about it at USF, and then I like coming here and talking about it. Totally different new ideas come up. And then the snapshot things that we did last week, it was really cool to see how people brought the pages to life.
Through my whole life, I've felt like I was being watched by police or stalked. And I thought it was just something with me. Really, I thought it was just, but then you hear about it in music and you see it on TV and it just become a normal thing. So it was just real normal, and I didn't think that it was actually being looked at as close as the book had looked at it. So the pages really brought to life.
I have been studying a lot of theory about the prison industrial complex, and for me this experience was a way to really see the communities that are being affected.
An outcast, high risk, socially unfit, my identity and constitutional rights are stripped.
When I first got into performance, I wasn't really great at talking to the large crowds, so it definitely a challenge for me to go there and know that I had to be speaking in front of a large crowd. So it got me out of my comfort zone for one.
It's more of us having an exchange, and for us to realize sort of that we have our own role in this grand scheme of things.
I was just tuned in. I just like, oh, we gotta do more. I came up with ideas. We should do this. I think we should do this, and to see how we can interact with other people and stuff, and they don't judge us and things like that. That's really brought a big part of it.
And I've seen so much growth from outside students and inside students throughout this process, and it's been such a true collaboration between everybody. And I think that everybody has a lot to say, and it's going to be a beautiful performance.
That we met in class was a learning experience, because we were breaking down preconceived notions of what people thought it was like to be inside of an institution. And people seeing that everybody inside institutions are not animals. There's actually some thespians, scholars, athletes, different intellect levels that you can learn from, especially if you're a fresh mind and you're trying to go out into the community and advocate for something.
Take ideas from us, not like they coming in and just teaching us and telling us to do something. They actually asking, what do we have to give to the program?
The common ground, I feel like, is the art, and we are using that as our lens in order to grapple with these issues. And it's really beautiful because we have music, dance, and theater, and the inside students and the outside students, and that's our grounds where we can come together and analyze these issues in a way that is through art.
Through this program, it showed me that when a lot of different cultures and minds come together, a lot of great things can evolve.
But the people are waking up, speaking their stories, learning each other's languages. The people's hearts are thawing. They are working together to take down the walls. Change can happen.